Okay, so if you're in the restaurant business, you already know that good food is, well, it's just the price of entry. So what's the real difference between a good restaurant and a truly excellent one? It's not just what's on the plate. We're going to break down the three key pillars that can take your place from just another restaurant to an unforgettable experience.
And this quote right here really is the heart of it all. Pretty much anyone can cook a decent steak, right? But the real question is, can you create a moment? Can you craft an evening that people are still talking about weeks later? That's the real game, and that's where excellence lives, in the whole entire experience. I want you to just think about this for a second. The stakes in this business are so incredibly high. And look, it might not even be a traditional food critic anymore. Today, any single customer with a smartphone could be a huge culinary influencer. Their review, it's posted in seconds, and it could literally define your reputation overnight. So let me ask you straight up, are you ready right now for that person to walk through your door? Because maintaining that level of quality, it's not really an option, is it? It's an obligation. So let's build a framework to make sure your answer is always, without a doubt, yes. So where do we even begin? Well, not with the menu, not with the decor. We start with the mindset. The very first pillar is what we're calling the obsessive mindset. Before you perfect a single thing, you have to build a culture where excellence is the only standard you're willing to accept. Let's play this out because it's a perfect example of humility in action. A customer says their steak is wrong. Now, you know it was cooked perfectly. The ego-driven response? You argue, you defend the dish. But the excellence-driven way, you listen and you recook it, no questions asked. Because you get it. Their happiness is way more important than your ego. And that one simple move can turn a complaint into a customer for life. And having this obsessive mindset, it's not all about the grind. It's also about appreciating the journey. When you get a glowing comment online or your team hits a new goal, you gotta celebrate it. It keeps morale high, it reinforces the culture, and it shows everyone on your team that every single step toward perfection really, really matters. Okay, so having the right mindset is absolutely critical. But let's be honest, a great philosophy is pretty much worthless if it doesn't translate into action. And that brings us right to our second pillar, flawless, precise execution. This is where we turn that internal obsession into a real, tangible, day-to-day practice. This question right here. This is the one you or your team should be asking yourselves constantly. I don't mean once a month in a meeting, I mean every single shift. Before we even look at the examples, just take a second and think about your own restaurant. What's one tiny little thing you could perfect? See, excellence lives in the details, the kind of details most people don't consciously notice, but trust me, they absolutely feel it. We're talking about a plate that's warm enough to keep the food hot, glassware that's so clean it almost looks invisible, a knife that's lined up perfectly with the edge of the table. All these little things send a huge signal. We care. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The standard isn't good enough. It has to be flawless. This isn't just a nice idea. It's a non-negotiable rule in a top-tier place. There's just no room for the small stuff. Because all those little imperfections, they add up. Let's get super practical. Think about serving a cup of coffee. It sounds so mundane, right? Wrong. In an excellent restaurant, it's a moment of pure elegance. It's carried with care, it's placed down silently, and the handle is turned just right for the guest to pick it up without thinking. Every single gesture has a purpose. And just like that, you've turned a simple transaction into a moment of real hospitality. The secret weapon that ties all of this execution together is consistency. It's one thing to be great on a packed Saturday night when the adrenaline's pumping, but the real test, that's a quiet Tuesday lunch. The person who comes in on a Tuesday deserves the exact same obsessive detail as the person on Saturday. In the world of excellence, there are no days off. All right, we have the mindset, we have the execution, so now let's talk about where it all comes together. Our third and final pillar is crafting the customer experience. This is where all that intense, behind-the-scenes work becomes pure magic for your guests. The experience is so much more than just the food. It's the whole vibe, the lighting, the music, even the scent in the room. It's your staff with their crisp uniforms and their warm, confident energy. I mean, when a server can passionately describe every single ingredient in a dish, it builds this incredible level of trust and just elevates the whole meal. Innovation is also a huge part of this. But listen, that doesn't mean you need to go out and buy a bunch of robots. Look at this really clever example. Some places use tiny, discreet signals between staff to remember a guest's water preference after they order it the first time. What's the result? The next time they need a refill, the right bottle just appears. It's seamless, it's impressive, and it makes the customer feel totally seen. Now that's smart. And please remember to finish strong. The dessert, the way you present the bill, that last thank you at the door, those last moments have to be just as perfect as the first bite of the appetizer. Because that last impression, that's the one that people carry out the door with them. It's what sticks. So, wow, we have covered a lot of ground. Let's just take a breath and boil this all down into a clear, simple recipe for success that you can start using right away. At the end of the day, it all comes down to these 3 things. You start with the obsessive mindset. Then, you channel that mindset into flawless, precise execution every single day. And that relentless execution is what creates that beautifully crafted experience for your guest. Mindset, execution, experience. That's the formula. Look, taking these ideas and actually putting them into practice isn't easy. It takes constant effort, a lot of humility, and a real obsession with every little detail. But if you truly commit to it, you won't just get repeat customers. You'll create true fans who tell everyone they know about you. So the only question left is, are you ready to stop just serving meals and start creating experiences?